Mochi is a cat. She spends her days napping and catching lizards, and her nights trying to catch a glimpse of her boyfriend, Zachary. She eats the same nibbles every day and sleeps on the same chair. Most cats would see this routine as mind-numbingly boring, but it was all Mochi had ever known. And Mochi was happy. And then something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Mochi, something she would never quite forget. She was sitting on the floor that morning when she realized that not one single nibble had materialized in her food dish. No one had showed up to pet her, play with her, or even say hi. Never in all her months at the house had this happened, this complete isolation. Mochi went to the door, finding it slightly ajar. Mochi had an irrepressible desire to investigate. Mochi couldn't investigate until she was squeaky clean from a good long cat shower. But now that she was sparkling, Mochi could surely find out what happened to her. Mochi just had to know how the lizard she stuck in the crack of the door last week was doing. She poked the lizard in a display of predatory dominance that was sure to endear her to empathetic watchers everywhere. But now that she was bored with the lizard, Mochi headed out of the porch. Out of her box, and sprinted with the utmost urgency to the front yard to try and figure out what was wrong. Mochi was a wise cat who always took the time to appreciate the natural splendor of Mother Nature's creations, but she really should be getting on. She did her best impression of an octopus and wriggled under the fence, and at last Mochi had reached the front yard. At this point, Mochi's fascination with the local plant life was bordering on morbid preoccupation. After deciding that the balance beam was not for her, she confidently marched up to the garage, where the answer to all her problems was waiting right there. Mochi had finally found it. It didn't matter that her parents were missing. Really, their only purpose was to keep her fed, and Mochi had struck the mother lode. This food could sustain her for the rest of her life, as she made this garage her new home and stayed forever and ever. Come on, Mochi. You had one job. The poor narrator couldn't stand by and watch as his story was being mucked up by some insolent cat. He tried valiantly to chase Mochi down, but she went to ground in a nearby bush. It all makes sense now. Mochi's infatuation with the plants, the escape from the garage, had all led to this shrubbery in someone's backyard. The brave narrator staked out the bush for several minutes until Mochi was bored of it, and in a feat of godlike power captured her and brought her back home. As the incredibly handsome narrator brought the cat back to her porch, he decided that he'd had enough of the Mochi Parable. No more stupid cats and their stupid bushes. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Goodbye, everyone. Feel free to adopt this cat. I don't want it anymore.